They call them untouchables, a family so rich, so powerful, that their crimes became the foundation of modern capitalism itself. While most mobsters laundered a few million through casinos or nightclubs, this family built empires across continents, controlling oil, banking, and even governments. You've heard of the Corleones. You've heard of Escobar. But this is different. Welcome to the story of the world's richest crime family, the dynasty that turned blood money into generational wealth. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to hear, most people aren't supposed to know. For more than a century, the world's richest crime family operated under a simple rule: don't get caught, make them work for you. Their empire began not in the streets of New York or the slums of Medellin, but in the quiet drawing rooms of London and Geneva, where tailored suits replaced leather jackets and offshore accounts replaced briefcases full of cash. The family's fortune started with smuggling, not drugs, but gold. During World War II, they helped move assets for collapsing European regimes, gold looted from nations, hidden in crates labeled as industrial parts. When the war ended, they didn't stop. They evolved. They invested in reconstruction projects, laundering dirty wealth through legitimate contracts. And as nations rebuilt, they became indispensable, the silent financiers of a new world order. By the 1970s, their reach stretched from the Middle East to Wall Street. They controlled shipping routes, oil pipelines, and had influence in major global banks. They weren't gangsters in the traditional sense. They didn't carry guns. They carried briefcases, sat on corporate boards, and shook hands with presidents. Behind every coup, every shadow war, and every major economic miracle, their fingerprints were there. They owned private jets, entire neighborhoods, even small countries' debt portfolios. Their fortune? Estimated in the hundreds of billions. But their names? Vanished from public records decades ago. One of their most notorious operations began in the late 1980s, when drug money flooded global markets. The family saw an opportunity. They created shell companies in Panama, trust funds in Liechtenstein, and fake charities in Switzerland. Cocaine cash from Latin America flowed straight into their banks, disguised as real estate investments and medical foundations. The DEA chased the cartels, but the real masterminds were sitting in penthouses in London, toasting champagne. By the early 2000s, they had evolved again into the digital age. Cryptocurrency, offshore fintech startups, complex money laundering algorithms, all tools in their arsenal. They didn't just move money, they controlled the flow of global finance. Entire governments borrowed from their private institutions, and when those nations couldn't pay, the family quietly took control of their industries, ports, and natural resources. It's said one of their current patriarchs owns over 50 shell companies connected to national energy contracts. He's been photographed shaking hands with world leaders, but his name never appears in the news. Even the intelligence agencies know better than to say it out loud. But how did they stay invisible for so long? Because they understood the one rule most criminals never learn. You don't fight the system, you become the system. They sponsored political campaigns, built universities, and donated to charities. Their foundations won humanitarian awards, while their offshore firms drained developing countries dry. And if a journalist got too close, suddenly an accident, a car crash, a heart attack, a missing person report. Silence bought with fear and luxury. Their heirs now sit at the top of some of the world's biggest corporations. Their public faces, tech entrepreneurs, philanthropists, art collectors. Their private lives? Filled with coded meetings, encrypted phones, and secret villas where business never stops. When the FBI investigated one of their holding companies in 2017, the paper trail led to a maze of subsidiaries stretching across 40 nations. The case was quietly dropped. You see, the mafia made headlines. The cartels made Netflix shows. But this family made the rules and rewrote them in their favor. They turned organized crime into organized power. And in today's world, that's the ultimate currency. So when you hear about billionaires, global banks, or philanthropic foundations saving the world, ask yourself one question: who's really pulling the strings? Because sometimes the most dangerous crime families don't need guns or gangs. They just need influence and the patience to let the world believe they're legitimate. This is the hidden empire that built fortunes on corruption, greed, and silence. The family that proved money doesn't just talk, it rules. If you want to uncover more stories they don't want you to know, subscribe and stay tuned, because the next episode will take you even deeper into the underworld of global power, where the rich don't hide from justice, they own it.